Let Dr. Meredith Watson, Wealth and Zen Coach, teach you how to turn the price of what you would pay for 4 gallons of milk into $2,000 using your innate talents. Visit www.wealthyzen.life. She will help you uncover and dissect your badass narrative, which will allow you to journey into a purpose-driven life where you can afford to do what you want, when you want, as often as you want. Check out her free audio ebook at www. Hello. It's Dr. Meredith Watson, Wealth and Zen Creation Coach. I teach people how to take your innate talents and create wealth and zen. I help you uncover your badass narrative, which will allow you to journey into a purpose-driven life where you can afford to do what you want, when you want, as often as you want. Check out my free ebook at www.wealthyzen.life. Tonight I want to talk about really, what are you keeping yourself from accomplishing? What experiences are you perpetually refusing because your awareness operates at too modest of a level? And what I mean by that is, what are you sacrificing because you don't think you can have it? Or you're giving it up because you're not open to receiving that which the universe is desiring, begging to bestow upon you? What are you holding on to that is in the way of you getting what you truly desire? And what are you holding on to out of complacency that is hindering you and blocking you from what you truly desire? I hear a lot of my clients talk about how they want riches and wealth and a mate and children and a nice house and a nice car, and to get out of the struggle of attempting to pay their bills and have nothing left over. They're ready to get out of that grind. They're ready to get out of that rut. They have been told that they can't accomplish the things that they want. They're not enough. They're not worthy. They have fears of being intimate. They have fears of investing. They have fears of being vulnerable and showing up authentically and soulfully and getting out of that rut and that mire. And they're just being consumed by the ashes that consume them, as opposed to rising above the ashes that try to consume them. They truly don't know what they really want because they've never really done the inner work to figure out what's going to make them happy and what's going to set their soul afire. So they sit in this level of complacency because they're afraid. I personally was afraid. I remember the first time I realized that I was being gaslit or told that I couldn't accomplish something because of other people's fears. And it started with, I wanted to get my driver's license. I was probably 15, 16, and I failed it a couple times. And I remember standing in front of my grandmother's front porch or in front of her yard, and she telling me that maybe it's not meant for me to learn to drive. And then later on telling me that my birth certificate was incorrect and I was really not legal, so therefore I couldn't leave her home. I couldn't go out and live my own life. That I had to stay under her jurisdiction. And a lot of other gaslighting and a lot of other lies that were told to me just to keep me stifled and stuck in a box created by someone else. And I'm suffocating, not owning my truth and not being my full and authentic self. And then I started to wonder about having the wealth that I so desperately craved. And I realized that the reason I wasn't calling in and achieving the wealth at the level and at the amount and in the intensity and the variables and the intervals that I desired was because I have been taught subconsciously and consciously that money is a tool to control. Money is hard to achieve. Money runs through your fingers. People use you and abuse you when you have money. And you get a lot more pity when you don't have money. You get a lot more pity when when you're in a lack mentality and you're always having to ask for things so people can give it to you and then lord over what they've given you. So it was very odd for me to even want wealth and even want anything above the status quo of what I'd been brought up to believe was an option for me. So I had to kind of delve deep and do the ancestral healing and do the mindset work and the journaling and the polarity and meditation and mindset work to figure out why I wasn't achieving what I wanted to achieve. And why was I still hung up in relationships and in situations that weren't serving me? And it came about that I literally called in relationships that weren't serving me, that only took and never gave, that were not mutually beneficial. I had a best friend for over 20 years, and seriously, the relationship was predominantly about her and what she wanted and what she needed and her problems and her woes and her divorce and her kids and her sickness and her parents. All the things were about her. And when it was time for me to lean on her, she couldn't stand up and hold the weight of my woes and sorrows in addition to her own. And we, for many other reasons, fell completely apart. Our relationship did. But our relationship was built on a lie from the onset. And it was setting the tone or setting the stage to have relationships that don't serve me, that are built on a premise that cannot withstand any level of trauma or anxiety or pain or upheaval or fire to the relationship or trauma to the relationship. And the relationship was built on a lie. It was built on me not thinking that I deserve a relationship that is mutually beneficial, that is built on trust and mutual communication and core values. Relationships need to be built on a commonality of common values. If you don't believe at the core what the other person believes and it's causing a rift, that's a definite reason to end the relationship. If you only feel like you're being taken from, this person is a leech on your energy, your soul, everything that you have, it's time to withdraw. Even if those relationships are people that you love and adore and really have always had in your life, even if it's your family, even if it's your mate, even if it's sadly one of your children. You cannot continue to give and give and give and give and give and never receive anything in return. A reciprocal relationship is extremely important. A feeling of a belonging, having your needs met, that is basic survival techniques. But if you're not doing those things, you're setting yourself up to fail, you're setting yourself up to get worn out and burn out, martyrs or burned at the stake. And maybe you were told that you have to live your life a certain way. I was told that I need to teach, live next to my grandmother, live in my hometown, never get married or have a family, just devote my life and energy and resources to the family. And God forbid you break the mold and do something different, you're going to fail. My aunt used to say you're going to bump, which means I guess you're going to fall face first and have an injury of some sort. But, it didn't happen that way. It took me a while to get on the even plane and get where I wanted to be, but overall, to be able to overcome the drama and the limiting beliefs and the old paradigms and the rhetoric and allow myself to create the greatness and create that which I was created to bring into the world with guidance about what was blocking me and created my dream life was exactly what I did and what I want to help other people to do. I did a lot of journaling and ancestral healing and looking back at past generations at what kind of paradigms and rhetoric had been consistently repeated through generation after generation after generation. And what was I supposed to learn this time around? To stand in my own power, to love myself and not need outside validation or approval or cajoling by anyone else, to find the strength and the love within myself, therefore to give that love to other people. Because if you're not being authentically true to yourself, there's no way you can give that love to anyone else whole soul. It's nice to have other people love you, but first you need to love yourself. You need to be able to look in the mirror and draw from that love for yourself and what you've accomplished and what you've overcome. Because if you can't trust anything else I say, this is true to fault. Everything that tried to destroy you, tear you down, kill you, thus far has failed. You've achieved success against everything, every weapon that was set against you, every curse, every spell, every hiccup, every upturn, every upheaval, everything that's gone against you thus far, you have succeeded. Maybe a little broken, maybe a little hurt, maybe a little bruised, maybe a little bitter, but you've overcome it. And the choice for you now is to stay present in the moment, decide what you want for your life, move forward, figure out what you want to do, what's going to best serve you, what's going to best fulfill you, what's going to best fill your cup up. And then if you want to start a business, figure out how you want to serve the world. How do you want to serve your tribe so that they know that you're the person to get them from point A to point B point A to point Z with ease, grace, finesse, and tenacity? How are you going to market to your people? How are you going to encourage your tribe to drool over your products so that they can run in heels with boils on their feet with credit cards in hand to buy your product, service, or package? How are you going to have your sales funnel? How are you going to close your sale? How are you going to have the mindset to know that you bring the ice cream to the yard in a way that no one else can, and have the faith and the trust within yourself to move into the wealth and the zen and the happiness and joy and creation and no longer be stuck in this muck and miry clay and to rise above the ashes that consume you? Do you have a cheerleader who is going to motivate you and help you catapult your life forward? Do you have someone you can reach out to 24/7 that's going to be in your back pocket helping you create this wealth and zen and journey forward? Because as I've said a million times, with the right ignition, you can journey forward into the direction of your most inherent dreams. There's nothing stopping you but you. And there's ways in which you can achieve the things that you want. You can call in the things you want. You are a child of an infinite source. Everything you want is yours to have, but you have to be in the right vibration and the right frequency, and you have to be in the right frame of mind. It's all about frame of mind to really achieve the things that you want. I teach my daughter every single day that everything she wants is hers to have. If it is hers to have, if it weren't hers to have, she wouldn't have this yearning gut feeling of going after it. But because it's something that is innate in her, wanting to come out and be born into this world, and she can show the world what she's working with, even at her young age, she has to believe that it's hers to have. I totally believe that everything I want is mine to have. The car, the house, the wealth, the family, the friends, the peace, the travel, the good food. Everybody knows I love food. The clients who I'm actually hoping to have extraordinarily positive, exquisite results through working with me and working with my product, services, and packages to show the world what they're working with through their product, services, or packages. And dissecting your badass narrative, yeah, there's a lot of work involved, especially mind work. You have to be ready to dig deep and really be ready for what you're going to find. I had no idea I was going to find out that I had limiting beliefs that really were keeping me stuck in that I didn't believe in myself. That I had mother issues, daddy issues, that I had to overcome the disdain I had for the feminine side of myself. I was always in the masculine, thinking that I had to be a tiger and go after everything, that I wasn't open to receiving. Because to me, receiving was weak. Receiving meant that people were going to have control over me and ask me questions that were none of their damn business. But it's important that you realize that whatever you want is yours to have, that you can call in wealth and health and money and a mate and children and all the things you want. Anything you want, there is a reason you don't have it. There's a blockage somewhere that is keeping you from receiving that which you really desire. And you can remove that block, tear it up, break it down, push it off the side of a cliff and crack it open and start being open to receiving and have that light, have that connection and alignment with source, creator, universe, God, Jehovah, whoever you call on that's bigger than you. And you can co-create with this infinite source to have the things that you want. It's not all woo, it's not all woo-woo and crocs and, pipe dreams. You can have what you want. People are totally having what they want, and they're calling in the desires of their heart because they're open to receiving it. It's really important that you start to believe that what you want is yours to have. And if you're not open to receiving, you're never going to achieve the things you want. It's really important that you start calling in the things that you really believe that are yours to have. You need to start visualizing the things that you want. Start visualizing yourself in that house, with that mate, with that family, in a piece of tranquility and vacation and health and wealth. And it's really important that you never, ever forget that what you want is yours to have. That when you start visualizing, setting the intention, taking the inspired action, calling in what you want, getting in the right vibration and frequency of the things that you truly desire, nothing in this world can stop you. You can call in the things that you want and you can have them like that. Because you're setting the intention, you're taking the inspired action, you're making the changes, you're doing the work, you're figuring out what blocks are keeping you stuck, and you're removing them, tearing them apart, then there's nothing stopping you. But the first step is you have to know it's yours to have. You have to believe that from the core, at the gut, and you also have to be able to think for yourself. Mom, dad, sister, brother, everybody, those people are wonderful to have in your life, but they cannot dictate who you're going to be, what you're going to accomplish, and what you're going to call into your life. You can let them tear you down if you want to, but at the end of the day, you have to decide the buck stops here. Those limiting beliefs and old paradigms and rhetoric and curses and paradigms and systems and consistent of the same toxic behavior can stop with you. Because what are you teaching your children? What are you showing to yourself when you look in the mirror? Looking in the mirror and hating who you are is not the way to live. Looking in the mirror and regretting decisions that you could have changed, or even just not making a conscious effort to go forth and change going forward and making a different life for yourself going forward, that's no way to live. I woke up one morning and I hated my life. I didn't want to live. I was upset that God let me live another day, and I knew that was the key to changing. I sat on the sofa with my brand new daughter, and I knew I did not want to teach her that misery was normal. I wanted to have a life that was full of happiness and joy and tranquility and wealth and health and travel and good food and a home that I could feel was my oasis. But I very well could not do that if I was stuck in the limiting beliefs and the old paradigms that told me that not only could I not be happy, but you staying stuck was, admirable. Joy isn't yours to have. You're just supposed to keep drudging along and being miserable. And look at the people around you. Are they miserable? Then you need to change your surroundings. You are going to call in basically what you are kind of around. Like, you are going to manifest the things of the people that you hang around the most. They're doing things that aren't beneficial, and it's not serving you or them, and you're still going in. It's insanity to do the same thing and expect a different result. If you're in a job that you hate, take a couple classes and learn a new trade. Everyone has a leverageable skill. Decide how you want to monetize that shit and move on with your life. You're in an unhappy relationship because you think you should be there and it's noble to be there. You're going to die miserable. You have no one to blame but yourself. And then think, if you have kids, what you're teaching them. It's not about keeping your vows. It's not about keeping your promises. Those are important qualities to teach yourself and your friends and family and your kids. But also, in keeping that vow, are you miserable? Sometimes you make a decision, and in hindsight, it's 2020. We all should be able to have a do-over. We all should have an opportunity to revamp and redecide based on new information. There are cases of people who are on death row and they get off death row, or their cases found that they weren't guilty after all based on new information. And it's sad that they spent all that time in jail, but think about the new life that they get now. They can't get the time back, but they can use what time they have left to make it the best years of their life. The same way with anything else. You're in a job that you hate, find a way to get out of it and get into something that fulfills you. You're in an unhappy relationship, talk to the person, see if counseling is an option, but also see if it's really best for you to stay. Because, dying of a broken heart and miserable depression, anxiety, those are true things. People can die from those things. So one way or another, your soul, your heart, and mind are going to get you out of it. So I would suggest that you take me up on the offer. Let me help you dissect your badass narrative and journey into a purpose-driven life where you can afford to do what you want, when you want, as often as you want. Check out my free ebook at www.wealthyzen.life. I look forward to talking to you. Be wealthy, be zen, invest in your health, invest in your wealth, invest in your joy, happiness, and tranquility, because you deserve. Thanks for joining us for our latest hot topic on Phoenix Radio, where we rise above the ashes as we discuss mindset meandering and life hacks and business mastery. Be wealthy and zen, invest in your wealth. If you have questions about life, business, or mindset, email questions to meredithw@consultant.com, and we'll do our best to address your issues on the show. Be wealthy and zen and invest in your wealth at www.wealthyzen.life.